It's the Chris Massey College Football Show. Starring your host, Chris Massey.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Massey and welcome to the Chris Massey College Football Show. Tonight is our bowl and playoff preview show. We're going to be looking at the playoffs and the bowl games that are coming up. We're here tonight coming to you from our Chisel Multimedia Studios in Smyrna, Georgia. And I'm joined as always by my fine engineer, Mr. Matt Roberts. Matt, we doing okay today?
Yes, sir.
That's right. We're all ready for Christmas. Hope you guys are too. And we're going to spend the next half hour talking some college football. And man, there is so much to get to. The conference championships are over. The bowl games have been set. The 4-team playoff is in place. We finally know who is in and who is out. We got coaches jumping all over the place, players in the transfer portal. Some would tell you it's a mess. Me, myself, I think it's an exciting time for college football. So when we come back, we're going to dive right into it. We'll be right back.
Mechanics of officiating. Young back in the end zone again on 3rd and 5. That question might have to wait because there goes Jamison Williams to the house. Touchdown, Alabama. Manny Diaz screaming at the referee, Ron Snodgrass, but the replays seem to confirm that the officials got the play right on the previous play before this touchdown.
Well, just great separation on DJ Ivy.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 12. The blow to the head. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
You see the speed and the acceleration of Jamison Williams.
All right, you just saw Alabama's Bryce Young throwing one of his 43 touchdown passes this year, and that was enough, along with an 11-1 record and an appearance in the college football playoff, to make Bryce Young the new Heisman Trophy winner. And Alabama goes back-to-back last year with Devontae Smith and now Bryce Young. And Bryce Young took home the hardware and gets to look forward to being in all those great commercials with the rest of the Heisman winners. So the championship weekend came and went, and we had Oregon winning the Pac-10 championship, and they're going to be appearing in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State did not win the Big Ten championship, but they will be representing the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl. Pittsburgh won the ACC, and they will be playing Michigan State from the Big Ten in the Peach Bowl. Let's see, who else have we got here? Who am I missing? In the Fiesta Bowl, we're going to have Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. And of course, Oklahoma State won the Oklahoma State did not win the Big 12. They were the runner-up. Baylor won the Big 12, and they will be facing a 10-2 Ole Miss team in the Sugar Bowl. Congratulations to Ole Miss, their first 10-win season during the regular season. Lane Kiffin doing a phenomenal job down there, and everybody and their brother that has a coaching vacancy comes up mentions Lane Kiffin, and Ole Miss is doing everything they can to try to hang on to him. So that gets us to the 4-team playoff, and we've got Alabama as the number 1 seed. We've got Michigan at number 2, Georgia at number 3, and Cincinnati, winner of the AAC from the group of 5, in the number 4 spot. Now, Alabama and Georgia faced each other in the SEC championship game. Georgia was undefeated, and Alabama, of course, had the 1 loss. And Alabama put it on Georgia and put it on them fairly convincingly with a 41-24 win. The Bulldogs, second quarter is what did them in. People were saying this defense got exposed. Well, it was just for 1 quarter. The defense only gave up 10 points in the first, third, and fourth quarter, 24 in the second quarter. That's where all the damage was done. Of course, Stetson Bennett threw a pick 6 later. So will there be another Alabama and Georgia rematch in the national championship? We'll just have to wait and see. Michigan wins the Big Ten For the first time in God knows how long, Jim Harbaugh got it done this year, saved his job, beat Ohio State, won the Big Ten, has got Michigan in the playoffs for the very first time. Cincinnati, they're getting in by default. I mean, look, I told you on the very first episode of this show that they had no business being in the top 10. I am still a firm believer of that. They played the 90th toughest schedule in the country. And I think Alabama is going to wax them, and I mean wax them something fierce. And I kind of hope they do, so then we can get rid of this nonsense that group of 5 teams belong in the college football playoff. They do not. They just don't. They don't play the schedule. They don't have the players. And, they need their own league and their own championship. I said that back when we started back in August, and I am still standing by it. Other bowl games of some note. Let's see. The Outback Bowl is going to feature Penn State and Arkansas. That could be a good game. Sam Pittman did a wonderful job at Arkansas. Rough schedule. They went 8-4. 2 of those losses are to Georgia and Alabama. So you got to figure in another conference, these guys may have pulled in 10 victories. Now, the crazy thing about the bowl games, of course, is that these players that are deciding not to play. For instance, in the Pitt-Michigan State game in the Peach Bowl, his name escapes me, please forgive me, the quarterback for Pittsburgh is going to be a number 1 draft pick in the NFL. He's not playing. And the star running back for Michigan State, who's also going to be a number 1 draft pick, he's not playing either. Now, I'm sure this does not make the Peach Bowl officials happy one bit. But on the other hand, you cannot fault these guys for going out there and putting $15, $20, $25 million on the line to play in a meaningless bowl game. So there needs to be some kind of retribution for this. And what I suggest is this, is that if you opt out of the bowl game for the NFL draft, I believe that you should have to pay the tuition back to the school for that 1 year. I do. When you sign your contract, you need to pay it. There's got to be something for it. These guys are doing this and getting away scot-free. And again, I understand why. I mean, if my son was in that predicament, I'd be telling him not to play either. I mean, you're not going to risk your whole financial future, not only for you, but for generations, to play in some meaningless bowl games. And don't give me that part of the team crap and this and that and the other. Nobody cares about that. These kids go to play college football for one reason and one reason only, and that is to get to the NFL. And when you're that close, you can't risk it. You just can't do it. But they should be made to pay the tuition back for that year because they did not complete the season. How about that? Okay. Now, we got coaches that are jumping all over the place here in college football. Brian Kelly decides to leave Notre Dame and go to LSU. And Brian says, you can't win a national championship at Notre Dame. Well, buddy, do you think you're going to win one at LSU? You're going to be in the same division with Nick Saban at Alabama, Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. Now you got Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Sam Pittman's doing a wonderful job at Arkansas. Auburn, they're not going to be down. Mike Leach is at Mississippi State. You just moved into the roughest conference in college football, and I can't see it happening. I cannot see it happening. I think LSU has made a big mistake taking this guy on down there, but only time will tell. Dan Lanning from the University of Georgia, the defense coordinator, he's taking the job out at Oregon. Now, I don't think that's going to hurt Georgia's defense much. Look, Kirby runs that defense. Who you trying to fool? Plus, he's got Will Muschamp there. So, I don't really think it's going to have much of an impact. But what it will have an impact on is that next year, in the first game of the year in the Kickoff Classic, Georgia and Oregon will meet in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. And Dan Lanning will know a little bit about having to defense that Georgia offense. That, I think, is going to be have the biggest impact. But I don't see it having much this year. Who am I leaving out? Oh, Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma to go to Southern Cal. Okay? And Lincoln Riley is no fool. He knows when Oklahoma gets into the SEC that it's going to be even tougher to make the college football playoff and get to a national championship. So he has gone out to Southern Cal. And if he gets the right recruits out there, he can win the Pac-10. and get into the college football playoff a lot easier out there than he could staying at Oklahoma. Okay, now when we come back, we're going to be talking about Clemson and all the stuff that is that is going on there. A lot of stuff to get to, so we're going to talk about that. Stay where you're at. We'll be right back.
Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
Y ahora sí despertó el público. Tagovailoa con el pase largo. Tiene a su hombre. ¡Touchdown! ¡Alabama es el campeón!
3 receivers right, 1 to the left, straight back to pass, going deep, throwing it down the far sideline, and it is caught for a touchdown! Devontae Smith wins the national championship down the left sideline and wide open behind the defense. One true freshman to another.
Third down.
Here's Tua stepping back, loads up, looks long, throws, end zone.
Touchdown!
Alabama! Devontae Smith! Touchdown, Alabama! And the Crimson Tide has once again ascended to the top of the college football mountain.
16 yards, second 26 on the 41, they say. Tagovailoa going downfield. He's got a man open. Oh, my God. Touchdown. Alabama has won it.
We just lost him in the secondary, too deep. Got behind our quarterback, and the Crimson Tide. Sweet jubilation for them as the dogs are heartbroken.
Это, кстати, не первый раз, да, я думаю, что он Таговailoa избавился от этого уже. Так, опять большой пас.
Зачетную зону, тачдаун.
Вот это да, потрясающе. Вот что творится, а?
All right, we're back. We're back. National Recruiting Day, National Signing Day, the early signing period just passed last week. And no big surprises there. You had Alabama, again, coming in with the number 1 recruiting class, followed by Texas A&M, Georgia, and 10 of the top 21 recruiting classes came from the SEC. Now, I want you to think about that just for a minute. South Carolina had the 21st recruiting class in the country, a top 25 class. That is good. I mean, that is good. There are so many schools out there. Actually, there's about 109 schools out there that would love to have finished number 21 in the country. I mean, hell, they were 8 slots ahead of Clemson. But what does that get you in the SEC? That South Carolina finishes 10th in their own conference. 10th. Now, that's why it's so hard to get these big guys knocked out of the way. You go out and bust your buns, you get the 21st best recruiting class, and you're 10th in your own conference. I think another school, I can't remember who it was, but 11 schools in the top 30 from the SEC. The SEC this year is sending 13 teams to bowl games. That's right. Everybody in the conference is going to a bowl game except for Vanderbilt. You know, and this argument that goes on and on about who is the best conference. You know, well, I'm just going to give you some numbers, okay? The Big Ten, the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the ACC, and since 2010, all have an under 500 record in bowl games. That's right. They're all under 500. The SEC is 72-43. 29 games above 500, playing teams from other conferences. Every year, who has the most NFL players drafted? You guessed it. That would be the SEC. Who has the top teams in recruiting? It's the SEC. You know, and people get tired of hearing it, but it's just the truth. You've got 2 teams from the SEC in the college football playoff this year, and you know what can I tell you? As of right now, the SEC is heads and shoulders the best conference. And everybody else is in second place. I know the Big Ten had a very strong conference this year, and some would say, hey, you know, they may have even been better than the SEC. Well, we really don't know because they're playing Big Ten teams. But we'll get a little bit of an idea. You got Michigan and Georgia playing. Penn State and Arkansas are going to play. And, we'll see how those games pan out. Now, as far as the college football playoff goes, here's my predictions. I predict that Alabama is going to beat Cincinnati by at least 17 points. I'm sticking with it. They're playing in the Cotton Bowl, and they play first. Now, Georgia-Michigan. Now, this is an interesting matchup, and one of the things that's hard to believe is this is only the third time in history that UGA and Michigan have faced each other. The last time came in 1965. Vince Dooley's second team. He took his all-white Georgia Bulldogs up to Ann Arbor and beat Michigan in the Big House. And that was that was probably the biggest victory of that 6-4 campaign back in 1965. Alabama showed you how to beat Georgia. You got to spread them out, 5 wide, give the quarterback time to throw the ball. Michigan is not built to do that. Michigan likes to run it. 2 tight ends, short passes. They have had a lot of big plays this year, but they just don't match up well against the Bulldogs. I don't think they do. And I am not surrendering the flag on this Georgia defense. 13 games this year, and they played one bad quarter. One bad quarter against the number 1 team in the country. And I think they're going to show up with something to prove. And I don't think Michigan is going to have a hard time. Georgia's record against the Big Ten is very impressive. In fact, Georgia has never lost to a Big Ten school. Never lost to a Big Ten school. Now, they have lost to Penn State when Penn State was not in the Big Ten. But they've played Penn State. They've played Wisconsin. They've played Purdue. They've played Ohio State. They have played Michigan State. These are teams that I can name. Michigan, they have played them before and have never lost. So we're going to see what happens. The big question for Georgia is who they'll play at quarterback. Now, Kirby said that it wasn't Stetson Bennett's fault that they lost. And he's right. I mean, you don't give up 24 points in the second quarter, you win that game. But Stetson did make some glaring mistakes. And JT Daniels continues to stand on the sidelines, the 5-star quarterback, who in the games he has played for Georgia this year has completed 72% of his passes, looked very good. Will we see him? Well, this game is do or die. The Georgia-Alabama game was not. So I think Stetson's going to be on a short leash. I do. If things go in there and start going south quick, I think we're going to see JT in there. But only time will tell. Now, they're having a dumpster fire over at Clemson University. Brett Venables, who has been there for 10 years, has left and gone to Oklahoma. That is their defensive coordinator. Tony Ellett, the offensive coordinator, has left to go to Virginia. Their AD has packed up his desk, and he has now gone to Miami. They've still got more players transferring, and Dabo's telling everybody Clemson will still be Clemson. And if you believe that, you're an idiot. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Clemson is Clemson with Brent Venables running the defense, okay? And now, instead of bringing in big-name coaches, Dabo is going to hire from within. And I'm going to tell you why he's going to hire from within, because these guys will feel obligated to him, and they'll stick around for a while. That's what he wants. Not to mention the university doesn't have to pay them as much money, okay? So if it's successful, everybody's happy. Will it be? We'll have to see. Clemson had the 29th best recruiting class this year. 29th. 1 year removed from playing in the 2 years removed from playing in the national championship game, and 1 year removed from making the college football playoff. South Carolina, the Dirt Peckers is what Clemson people like to call them, finished 8 places ahead of you. Okay? If Shane Beamer keeps doing that, he's going to be beating Clemson before too much longer. You don't have a quarterback. I mean, you don't. I mean, you're going to go in the next season with this guy. I know you got a 5-star guy coming in, but he is going to be a freshman. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. I just don't see it being much better for Clemson next year, even though they do play in the ACC, and the schedule is not nearly as tough. You don't know if Pittsburgh, Wake Forest, and NC State are going to be that tough next year. But Dabo, he doesn't seem to be worried about it. I mean, on a Sunday afternoon when he should be out recruiting, he's out at a pro football game in Las Vegas wearing Las Vegas Raider apparel, standing on the sidelines, not out recruiting while they're bringing in the 29th best class. Now, if you're a Clemson fan, that should make you furious. Furious. Did you see Kirby Smart or Nick Saban or Jimbo Fisher at a pro football game the Sunday before recruiting, before signing day? No, because they were out recruiting and coming in 1, 2, 3 in recruiting classes in the country. So it's going to be interesting to see what pans out with Clemson. When we come back, the final word. We'll be right back.
Shear from over 50 yards. He's 3 of 3 tonight, but those were all inside of 40. From the left hash, 56-yarder, just like last week against Pittsburgh. Kick is blocked. Georgia Tech blocks it. The Jackets pick it up back in the 25, and Austin is returning it down the left sideline. Past the 50, past the 30, inside the 20. You gotta be kidding me! And he scores! He scores! Lance Austin picked up the block kick.
I was. Yeah, Rachel was in the flag court, and I was there.
Had the miracle on North Avenue. This is the miracle on Techwood Drive.
And the students are flooding the field. What an end.
All right, we're back. I felt obligated to throw Georgia Tech a bone tonight. Georgia Tech had another rough season, going 3-9 again. Jeff Collins, you're going to have to show some progress next year, or people down on the flats are going to send you packing. You know, the last 2 games of the year, Notre Dame beat them 55-0, and Georgia beat them 45-0. That's 100-0 in 2 games, and I don't think that's happened in college football to a Division I team, a Power 5 team to get beat like that. Well, folks, the season is just about over. You know, we've got the bowl games and the playoffs, and it's time now for college football fans to face the harsh reality that I'm about to tell you. People don't want to admit it, but it's time that you do. And that is this: Alabama is better than everybody. They just are. Nick Saban has won 6 national championships in 12 years, 7 overall. Every year they get the best players. He is the greatest college football coach of all time, and with all due respect to Bear Bryant, that was a different time. It's not even close. Every year he loses offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators. From this team right here, last year, he lost his quarterback, first-round draft pick, running back, first-round draft pick, 2 wide receivers, first-round draft pick, offensive tackle, first-round draft pick, and they'll tell how many other draft picks in the latter rounds. And where are they at? Number 1, 11-1, going to the college football playoff. Now, when I say Alabama is better, I don't mean some days or some games or some seasons. I mean all the time, okay? Your A game against their A game, you lose. I don't care if you're Ohio State, if you're Clemson, if you're Georgia, whoever you are. If they bring their A game, you are going to lose. The only chance you have got to beat Alabama, and let's face it, it hadn't happened much. Ohio State, Clemson's done it twice. Auburn's done it a few times. The only time that you beat them is when they don't bring their A game. But do not be under the illusion that because you beat them that you're better than them, because you're not. You're not. I bought into it this year. Everybody around me was telling me, Georgia's better than Alabama this year. Georgia's better. Arkansas came to Georgia. We beat them 35-0. They went to Alabama. Alabama barely beat them 42-35. Same with Auburn. Same with Florida. Well, when we played them in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, Alabama showed up with their A game. And Georgia probably played their C game. But I'm here to tell you, it wouldn't have mattered that day if Georgia would have brought their A game. It wouldn't have been enough because they've got better players and they've got a better coach. Look at some of these stats that are just ridiculous. Nick Saban is 24-1 against former assistant coaches. Coaches that used to coach for him have beaten him once in 25 games. In the city of Atlanta, where the SEC championship game and the kickoff classic is played, Alabama has played 17 times in the city of Atlanta under Nick Saban, and they are 16-1 and have won the last 16 straight. Now, if Georgia does get to the national championship game against Alabama, and I think they would have a shot maybe to win, and Michigan has no shot, okay? But if Georgia does get there, here's what you got to remember that goes in Georgia's favor. Number one, the game's not in Atlanta, okay? The game is not in Atlanta. We can't beat them in Atlanta. We can't beat them in Tuscaloosa. We can't beat them in Athens. Maybe we can beat them in Indianapolis, where the national championship is. But if they bring their A game and Georgia brings theirs, it's going to be hard to do. It's going to be hard to do. Georgia's got to play a perfect game, and they've got to hope that Alabama does not. Can it happen? Sure can. The two-time Clemson beat them. Alabama did not come with their best game. They didn't, especially that second game. I mean, that was about as bad as I've seen a Nick Saban team play. You know, Auburn got them on a night this year when they brought their C game, and Auburn brought their A game, and it still wasn't enough to beat them. So as long as Nick Saban is at Alabama, everybody else is second best. Yeah, you may beat them, and you may get a national championship. But it's not because you're better, because you're not. Alabama is the best team in college football. They were 5 years ago, they were 3 years ago, they were last year, and they are this year. We'll just have to see if they're going to be able to prove it. All right, we'll be back in January to talk about who the national champion is. We'll see you then. Bye.